Hello, I'd like to demonstrate for you today the macro I have written for the Arduino IDE. A macro, as you probably know, is a way to press one key and actually get many keys out of the keyboard. I wrote the macro in a program called AutoHotKey. You can download AutoHotKey directly from their website. It's free. Once you've downloaded it, you could look up quite a few videos and tutorials on how to use AutoHotkey, and YouTube has quite a few videos. Um, I wrote one specific to the Arduino IDE, um, so when I'm writing some C programs, I don't have to keep typing the same code over and over again. I can use the macros. So let's go ahead and take a look at what I've done, and all you're going to see is off to the left here is the actual um, this is actually what it is a notepad file, and in that notepad file is some lines of code for the macro, and we'll look at that a little bit later. But once you have AutoHotkey installed and running in the background, you would just double click this file, and the macro would be running. Now, I did some special work in the macro, so these macros, F4, F5, F7, only work when I'm clicked into the Arduino IDE, and we can talk about that a little bit more later. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's go down here into the loop and look at some of my comments I've already typed in. So I'm going to put the cursor there, and I'm going to go ahead. On my keyboard, I'm pressing F4 right now. And as you can see, when I pressed F4, we got a nice for loop. Uh, as you can see, we also moved the cursor back up into here where we need to write our code. Uh, Obviously, you may have to change this variable and these two values and possibly even the less than and the plus plus. But I think you get the idea. It's a quick way to just get a for loop on the screen quickly. Now let's see what's behind the F5 key. So I just pressed F5 and we got a switch case statement. I went ahead and formatted it for you. The cursor ends up here where you need to write a little bit of logic, but you would also need to, of course, put a variable in there or it will not compile. Switch cases are awesome for making multiple decisions. So let's see what's behind the F6 key. And we have serial print. Now I want you to notice where the cursor is. It is between the parentheses. So if I wanted to do that again, I would hit F6, quote, hello, quote. Uh, Again, the cursor is in the exact position we need it to be uh, for type to continue on typing our code. So F7 is probably obviously going to be the serial print line key. And again, the cursor is where we need it to be. Next, I'll press F8. We get a delay statement. So we're going to delay 100. And now we're going to get to the next comment I wrote, and that is, why did I skip F3? And why did I stop at F8? There's no F9. Well, I skipped F1 obviously because that's always help. F2 could probably be assigned to a function, but F3, most programs in the world, F3 is repeat the search, and Arduino for some reason has decided not to follow that convention. They want you to press Control G to repeat a search. And that was driving me nuts. And that's a lot of the reason why I wrote this macro is I wanted F3 back. So let me demonstrate the F3 key for you by first I'm going to hit Control F for search. I'm going to search for the word here. Obviously that's in the program a lot. And I'm going to find the next one. Okay, now I'm going to hit escape. I want that box to go away. But I want to search for the next word here. So at this point, I'm pressing F3 on my keyboard. And F3 now goes and searches for more here. That just makes a lot more sense to me. F9 is very basically compile. A lot of IDEs use F9 to compile the code. And if I press F9, of course, it's going to compile. Go ahead and press it now. It's going to compile, but of course, we're going to have errors. So I think you understand the functionality. And I want to, before we get to the end here, I just want to say you can certainly customize this uh, to your own features that you want. I'll open this file up a little bit later and we'll take a look at it, and you'll see it's very simple, very easy to figure out how it works. So I added a couple more keyboard shortcuts. Instead of F keys, they're actually, I'm going to type some letters on the keyboard and then the macro is going to take over. So if I type SER space, again, we get the serial print line. Okay, that's very handy. And you probably know what I'm going to get next. If I type in DLL space, I get delay. And then DELM space gives me delay microseconds. So again, these are just a few of the things you can do. If you customize this, you could certainly add a lot more shortcuts than what I'm showing you here. And so let's go ahead and take a look at this. Once you install AutoHotKey, you'll get this after you right-click on the file. So I right-clicked on the file. You'll get Edit Script. Edit Script is going to bring up a notepad window. That's all it is. And there's some things up here that are just pretty standard. You could look online for some help on using AutoHotKey, and I think all this is basically standard. This line right here is basically telling AutoHotKey to only run these macros if I am clicked inside the Arduino IDE, if that is actually the active window. So very handy. Then the F keys still work perfectly fine in your other programs. So as you can see, I've got the F3 key defined. F3 key is going to send Control G. Okay, cool. And look at all these, F6, F7, F8. And maybe I'll just talk a little bit about, let's say I typed in delay, DEL. You can see what the program's doing. I typed in DEL. The program is going to send delay, parentheses, end parentheses, semicolon. Now the cursor would end up right here uh, if I didn't send the next two lines. And what the next two lines are saying is, hey, move left, and end up back inside the parentheses. So that's basically what I've done. And again, you could add as many of these as you want. Let's say you add one more, you hit File, Save, and then you'd have to double click on your shortcut again. Now it's going to ask you, do you want to run the new instance or keep the old instance? So of course we won't run the new. So go ahead and edit this, add your own macros, use my macros. I hope this is just going to be a little bit helpful for everyone uh, who writes a lot of code. I know it's been very helpful for me over the years. Thank you.